Hello. Hi. I hope you can hear me, and if you're watching this, it means that you're watching the live Movavi webinar. It's webinar by Movavi, and my name is Roman. I work in Movavi company, and today we're going to talk about editing your pictures, editing your photos, and using Movavi Photo Editor program. This is a live webinar, so the first part of the webinar is some kind of presentation. I'm going to show you the program, and I'm going to show you how to edit your pictures using the Movavi Photo Editor program, how to enhance the quality of your pictures, and also I'm going to show you some useful tips like how to change the background, how to replace some objects, some unwanted objects on your photos, uh, mm, I don't know, like some pedestrians, like people you don't really want to be on your picture. Okay. And first, before I start, let me check if everyone can hear me and see me. Okay, looks like we're rolling. Okay. And of course, in the end of the webinar, I will be happy to answer your questions. So you can use the Google chat or questions and answers application in Google Hangouts. And if you're watching this offline, if it's on YouTube, you can just type in comments and ask some questions in the comment section, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Okay. Okay. And of course, in the end, and actually right now, you can try the Movavi Photo Editor program. It is suitable for Mac and Windows. I mean, we have separate versions for Mac and Windows, but they are totally equal. They have the same functions. You can do the same things on your Mac or on your PC. So if we are ready, let's get started. So right now I'm switching to my screen, to the program interface. Just 1 second. Okay, so right now you should see the screen. Okay, and let's open the program. This is how the icon, the shortcut looks like. Okay. Oops. Let me switch the language. Okay, so this is how the Movavi Photo Editor interface looks like. This is the latest version of Movavi Photo Editor, number 2. And before we get started with enhancing pictures quality, let me guide you through the program interface really quick. So this is the central area where your pictures appear. It says drag and drop your image files here. Okay, we will do that definitely. And there are several ways how you can import your images to the program. You can just drag and drop them here. You can click this button, Browse for Images, find the folder with the images you want, select them, and open. So I'm going to do this way, the second way, Browse for Images. Okay, so this is my folder with the pictures, and I'm going to start with this one. Okay, so I have this picture with the 2 people on it. This is a cute Japanese couple, I suppose. And we're going to work with this picture today. Okay, what other functions, what other instruments we have here? Under the picture, we have some tools to scale up, to zoom in, to zoom out the picture. The first button is Fit to Screen. If I press it, nothing really happens because the image is automatically fitted to the screen. The second button is Actual Size. So if I click Actual Size, I can see the actual size of my picture. Okay. Then I have Zoom In, Zoom Out. So I can just shift this indicator, this scale, left and right to zoom in or zoom out the picture. Okay, or I can Alternatively, click these signs to zoom out or to zoom in. And I have this tool. It has the sign of a palm. If I click it, and then I left click the image and move my mouse, I can browse through the image to see some details closely. Okay, let me zoom out. And let me give you one small tip. You don't really have to click this palm button to browse through your image. You can just press the spacebar on the keyboard like this. I'm holding spacebar right now. And I'm doing it the same way. I'm browsing and I'm shifting throughout the image like this. Okay, so let me click fit to screen again, because in my case it would be much more convenient to work with the picture when it's fitted to the screen. Under the picture I have these arrows. What do they do? Let's see. If I click it, I see another image. Where did it come from? Well, it is another image in the folder where I have originally opened the first image first. Okay, so I can switch between pictures in the folder. This is very convenient. For example, when you have a bunch of photos from holiday and you'd like to edit them a little bit to enhance their quality, to make them perfect, more perfect, okay? You don't have to open or drag and drop every image all the time. You just switch between them and save the changings. Okay. And finally, these three buttons on the right. The first one is delete. Well, we don't have to delete the photo. The last one is file information. If I click it, I'll see this small pop-up window with the details of the file, of the image. We don't really need it now. And the small button with the shape of an eye in the middle is my favorite. It switches the image to the original, and you have to hold it. If I hold it right now, nothing really happens, because again, I haven't made any changings yet. But we will definitely need this picture afterwards, a little bit later. Well, let's go to adjusting the photo. If you take a look to the right panel here, right bar, you can see tags, and we need the first tag. It's adjust. It's usually automatically opened. Okay, and the first part is enhancing the quality. Most of the time, you want to start with this button, with this tag, because even if you have the most expensive camera, the great camera, it's usually a good idea to enhance the quality, to work with settings a little bit. So let me pay your attention to the first button. It says Magic Enhance. So what happens if I press it? Let's see. Okay, so now my image is completely different. And let me tell you that most of the times this button is pretty much enough to do, because the algorithm in Movavi Photo Editor is pretty smart. It enhances the photo. Now it's bright, nice, and actually it's done. Let me again pay attention to the original version. I've told you already about my favorite button. Go to original. Okay, let me hold it. So you can see what we had before and what we have now. Before, after. Okay, but sometimes, let me tell you that sometimes Magic Enhance, Automatic Enhance is not really enough, and sometimes you want to probably customize your photo and enhance the quality more, well, manually, let's do that. Let's click the undo button. It's right here, undo. We can also click redo to go back and undo. Those are very useful buttons. Okay, and here we have a lot of parameters which we can adjust manually. So let me guide you through these parameters. The first one is brightness, the most popular, and oh, sorry. Okay, let me open it again. I probably should have. Oh, yeah, that's a great thing. If for some reason you closed your program, your session, it always has this button, open last edited file. Okay, so let's try. Okay, let's try with brightness. Okay, so I can shift the scale to the left or to the right to decrease or increase the brightness, or I can click here and set the value manually using keyboard. For example, let's try 4. Okay, let's stick with 4 for now. The next one is contrast. So you probably know that contrast basically makes the bigger contrast value makes a bigger difference between the color and illumination in pixels. So in this case, I think it would be a better idea if we increase contrast just a little. Okay, like this. Again, I can check what I had before, the original and the new. I'm not sure if you can spot the differences right now because it's a live broadcast. I hope you can, okay? And the next one is saturation. Saturation is responsible for the color, basically, how colorful your image is. So, how colorful it is? It's not really colorful. And in this case, I really like to bring in more color, like this one. Actually, what happens if I do some violent decision like radical, like put it to -100? My picture becomes black and white. In this case, I think I'm gonna stick with more colorful variant, like 20. All right, these are the basics. The next group of parameters. This group is responsible for color again, but a little bit in a different way. So the first one is hue. Be careful with the hue because sometimes it gives you some very unexpected result. Like it switches. Well, what does hue do? Hue basically switches the color. I mean, all the colors in your picture to a specific color. It doesn't change them completely, but it switches. Like if I do something like that or that, it would really remind me one popular Hollywood blockbuster, sci-fi Hollywood blockbuster. Okay, in this case, I think I'd like to make it a little more blue than it was. Okay, so that was the original. If you ask me, it's a little bit too like orange maybe or pink. So I'm gonna make it a little more like blue, I think. Yeah, this way. Okay, temperature. Temperature is the tool using which you can switch to blue or orange and basically make your picture colder or warmer. So the orange makes it warmer, the blue makes it colder. In this case, I think I'd like to make it just a little bit colder. So it would be more convenient if I just type in -1. Okay. So the difference is very slight, but I like it. Okay. The last one in this group is tint. Tint is basically the same as temperature, but we have different colors here. We have pink on the left border, left side, and green on the other. So it could be greener or pinker. In this case, I would not touch this, I think. Let me go back to 0. Or just maybe do the same, actually, -1. Yeah, it's very slight. Okay? The next group is exposure, gamma, highlights, and shadows. Okay, exposure. If you're familiar with photography, you probably know that exposure is actually some kind of parameter that we set up before we take the picture. So it is a parameter that you set in your camera, in your device. But what does exposure do here? Well, it's actually an algorithm which kind of imitates the exposure in your camera. And if I shift exposure to the right, it would be naturally brighter or darker if I switch it to the left. You might want to ask, why do we do that? Why do we need that? And what's the difference between brightness? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to set brightness to 0 and exposure to 0. If I shift brightness to the right, it would be brighter this way. Okay, 0. If I shift exposure to the right, it would be also brighter, but in a different way. So brightness basically increases the amount of bright pixels, because, well, as long as it is a digital photo, we work with pixels. And you can see it on the histogram. Actually, yes, we have a histogram here. If you're familiar with histogram, if you use histogram when editing your pictures, well, this is the histogram. It is very standard histogram, and you can rely on that. If you usually don't work with histogram, you don't really need it. Don't worry. So exposure, if you ask me, exposure works a little bit smarter than just simple brightness. So what I'm going to do is to start with exposure, actually, but not brightness. Usually I work with exposure first. Like in this case, I would definitely like to increase the exposure. Okay? And then I work with contrast, which I have already done, and then I try to do something with brightness. In this case, I would actually lower brightness, in this case, like a little bit, -2. The contrast would be smaller. I would put smaller value, and exposure would be higher. That's kind of editing I prefer personally. Let me put something like 15. Okay, and the last 3 in this group is gamma, highlights, and shadows. What is gamma? Well, gamma also is responsible for illumination, but gamma is basically midtones. So if I have some midtones and I'd like to make them darker or lighter, I can do that. In this case, I'd like to go with 0, actually. I'm not going to change gamma. Highlights is the illumination of those pixels which are already light. I can make them lighter. So if you have a lot of light areas in your image, for example, if it's an image from your winter holiday, like snowy mountains, You might want to decrease highlights a little bit because there are too much light already. In this case, the people are dressed in something white or light, so I would decrease it just a little bit, so you might spot the difference. Just a little bit, okay. And shadows is basically dark tones. So if you have a lot of dark areas or a lot of shadows, like in this case, I have this dark hair area in the middle, and I don't want it to be just a death dark space. So I'd like to increase this a little bit. Okay. All right. And the last thing I have here is blur and sharpness. So blur makes my picture blurry, like here. If I make blur, if I put a blur value too much, if it's a too big value, it makes me personally dizzy. So let me put just one. Sharpness makes my picture sharp. Okay. So it's not really blurry. Okay, in this case, I would stick with a small sharpness, but not too small, like 5 maybe. And again, let's see what we had originally. Originally, the image was like this, and now it's this. So if you remember the version that we had after Magic Enhance, you may compare it, and as you can see, in some cases it is much better to adjust your image manually, like we just did. Okay, and there are some useful buttons here, like reset. I'm not going to reset because I really like my edition. And we have revert to original button, and again, we're not going to revert to original. Okay, sorry. That was some technical moment. Okay, so the next thing we can do is rotate. The next tag is rotate. And naturally, here we have some tools to rotate, flip the image. So these buttons we use to rotate 90 degrees, 180. But we don't need to rotate it right now. And we can use these buttons to flip the image. This way or this way. I'm going to keep it like this. And we can change the angle. Well, in this case, the angle is great. I don't want to change it. But let me show you some example where you might want to need to use this tool. Let me go to another picture. Oh, right. See, if I try to switch to another picture, the program asks me if I'd like to save the changes. Well, yeah, I'd like to save them. Okay, overwrite. Yeah, overwrite. Okay, for example, you have a picture of a landscape like this, the sea view, and you can see that horizon line is kind of awkward. It's not the best shot, definitely, but that's not a problem. You don't have to be very precise when shooting. So you can adjust this angle to make it perfect manually. You can do it manually, like for example, by shifting the angle like this. Or you can set up the value manually, like -2. And finally, you can just draw the horizon line. This is a very useful tool, and I usually use this tool. It says level tool. So when I click this button, it offers me to draw the horizon line, which I'm going to do like this. All right. So after that, it automatically fits the horizon line. Let me show you again. So this is my horizon. Have to be careful. Okay. And now it's much better. If you still don't like it, or you'd like to achieve some artistic effect, you can go back to manual adjustings like this. All right. So let's go back to our Japanese couple. Yeah, save. Okay, here they are. The next tag is crop. Again, naturally, we can crop the image and we can set up manual aspect ratio. Just draw the frame, the new frame, move it, change it like this, or like this, or like this, adjust it anyway. Or alternatively, we can use the presets. We can go back to original aspect ratio. We can use some presets like 1:1 square. It's great for Instagram. Or for example, 2:3, which is an iPhone preset. If you're using iPhone, you will definitely like this preset. And we have some other presets here. And also, I'm able to set up the aspect ratio and the width and the height manually, like this. But in this case, I'm not going to do anything with the aspect ratio. I don't think we need to crop this image. It's great. Okay, and finally, we can resize the image. Again, we have very useful presets here. So we have some values which represented in pixels, in centimeters or inches. And we have other presets here. Okay, remember that if you'd like to set a bigger pixel value, pixel ratio than the original picture, you can do that, and the size would be bigger, but the quality naturally would not be better because it's just about the size. So pay attention to the original quality, original size of your image. Okay, I think the most interesting thing today is removing background. Let's go to this tag, removing background, and we have this automatically popping up tip. We don't need it now, but if you are trying to do this by your own, if you maybe forget the information from webinar, you can always click this help button, and this little helper will come again, okay, to your service. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? I'd like to do the following. I'd like to cut out these people from this background, and I'd like to replace the background to something more amusing, something more interesting. And I can do that using the Movavi Photo Editor program. Okay, the first step, I have to select the area which for me is a foreground, which I'd like to keep on the image. And to do this, I need this green brush, which is the first tool in the row. And then I have to set the brush size. Right now it's 15, and you can see that it's kind of small. Let me set it to a bigger value, like this one. Okay, and right now, please take a look how I am selecting the foreground, like this. Okay, as you can see, I'm not careful. I'm very careless, but I don't have to be careful, and I'm going to show you why. The next step, I have to select the background, or at least what I think is the background in the particular picture. And to select the background, to select the unwanted area, I need to use the second brush, which is the red brush. The same way I'm selecting the area which is a foreground, I'm sorry, the background. Let's wait a little bit. And now we have the result, almost. We have this, this yellow outline. And what is within, what is inside the yellow outline is the foreground. What is beyond the yellow outline is the background. So this area would not be kept in the picture, but this area would still be in the picture. Okay. So I told you that I wasn't really careful here. Like, look at that, or that, or that. Not a problem. There's the third tool here, which is the eraser. And in this case, I need the eraser to correct my selection a little bit. For example, I'm going to erase this. Much better now. And I'm going to erase this. So using the eraser, I don't have to undo everything and select the foreground and the background again. I just erase some things which were awkward, which were not really nice. Okay, still not perfect. Still, my people have their heads cut. Sorry for that. Really awkward. Okay, so let us do some more precise job. And again, I need the green brush. In this case, I think I'm going to need the smaller size of the brush, like 19. And what I'm doing is selecting the area which I haven't selected at the first place. Okay, much better, but still not perfect. Okay. Well, so let me tell you that it's when you're selecting the foreground and selecting the background, it's all about how precise and accurate you'd like to be. So if you'd like to have the best result and you have time and patience, you just need to work on details a little bit more. If you're satisfied with this kind of result, it's very useful for quick editing. Okay, but in this case, let's try to do it more perfect. Okay, we need to zoom in, I think. Okay, zoom in. Okay, and let me show you the precise way, how to do it better. Let us set the brush size to even a smaller size, like 12. And the first step is I'm outlining the border area. So I'm outlining the border. This is the first step. The second step, I'm switching to the red brush. Again, I need a very small size. 12 is enough. And I'm outlining it from the background, from another side. Okay, now it's much better. I still have some imperfections here, and I don't always have to draw, but I can just leave a small spot like this one. Okay. So you might guess that the smoother the lines are, the better result would be. So let us do the same with the rest of the picture. One small tip: if you're selecting people, there is sometimes a problem with the people's hair. Well, don't worry about this sticky hair, this hair which stick out, this small hair. You don't really need them because um, you don't spot them when you're replacing the background. They are not important. But if you try to catch them, if you try to keep them, they will unfortunately grab some color of the background. So it would be like all green a little bit, and we don't need that. Okay, last steps. Okay, I think it's fine enough. Okay, this awkward thing. Okay, finally, I have this small piece of background in the middle of the I mean, between people. This is very annoying thing. So what I'm gonna do is select it by using the red brush here. Okay, and as you can see, I don't have to brush it all over. I just put a small spot, and the program automatically defines what is the background. It defines the, well, it like takes the similar area around the spot which I just put. In this case, it's a green area. Okay, and before cutting this foreground out, we can choose the boundary smoothness. It could be off, and this way the lines would be like sharp. It could be the value of 1, 2, and 3. Basically, the smoother the lines are, the better the result is. But if we put 3 here, it would be not so perfect, especially because of this. So in this case, 2 is enough. Okay, we're ready. Let's click cut out and see what happens. Okay, now we have the foreground, and now we have just the people, no foreground. Okay, you can move this image around the area, and on default, the new background would be always transparent. And you might want to use the transparent background for your, I don't know, website or for video editing. Or you can combine it with some background later. But if you like to keep the transparent background, remember that you might want to use the PNG format, not JPEG, because PNG supports the transparency. For example, JPEG does not. Okay. Also, I can choose the white background, the gray one, the black one, or I can choose some color, for example, this color or this color. Finally, I can customize the color. I can set up my own color here. Click OK. And now I have my own color here. And probably the most interesting thing is uploading your own image, which you can use as the background. So let's click this button, Image File, and choose some alternative background. For example, it could be some tropical path, like here. Okay, so now I've just sent my people to tropical honeymoon, probably. Okay, we can send them to this Oriental market. As you can see, you can move the foreground anyway. So remember this thing. If I shift the foreground image out of the borders, if I shift it beyond the borders of the foreground, and when I click apply, when I save my image, it would be cut like this one, like this. It would be cut. So I don't want to lose this pretty girl or keep just the shoulder of a man, so it would be like that, I think. Okay, let us choose something like this, the waterfall. The last option you might want to use is feather radius. Feather radius is basically how blurry the borders of the foreground are. So we can make them blurry to make it smoother, like this one. If it's if it has the value of 0, it's still kind of sharp, especially in this case. Let me show you. Like the hair of this man are kind of sharp. So if I set feather radius to, for example, 3, it would be blurry and much better. Okay. Okay, and when you're done, just click apply, and you have the result. So we just changed the background very smoothly. And the last thing I'm going to show you about this picture is how to add the text. So right now we almost have some kind of postcard. And to add captions, to add text to your images, you need to use the text tag right here. Let's click it, the text tag. And we have this button, add text. So enter your text here. Okay, let's write something. Let's type something in, like, I don't know, honeymoon of a lifetime. Is that the right spelling? Okay. All right. So we have this text box here. If you click out of the text box, you can then move the text box. You can rotate the text box using this button, and you can resize it actually. In our case, I think I'm going to make it smaller. Okay. You can delete it using this button, but we don't need to delete it. Okay. Okay, let's adjust it. If I select it, here I can change the font. Okay, let it be this font. I can change the size. Let me keep 48. I can also make the text bold. Not really bold, okay. Bold, no. Italic, okay, works. And I can underline the text, okay. And if I have several lines, like in this case, I have 2 lines, I can set the alignment to the left, in the middle, and to the right, okay. Text rotation, we've just done it manually using this button, but you can also use this scale or set the angle automatically, like 45. Looks like this. In this case, I would keep it at 0. And finally, the color. You can change the internal color of the text. Okay. You can change the color of outline. I'm definitely not a designer. I don't have taste. Sorry. I'm pretty sure you would do a much better job than me. So I'm just gonna keep this orange text with the red outline. And finally, you can set the thickness of outline. I think that's great. Okay, I'm gonna keep it. And the last parameter here is opacity. So you can make it almost transparent, like invisible. I don't know why would you want to do that. Okay. I think that would be great if I make it a little bit transparent, like 82 value of the opacity. Okay, and we're done. Let me show you how to save your image. It's very important. We have this pretty postcard here, and to save this postcard, I need to use this export button right here on the right. Export, and I can change the name. For example, young couple postcard. Okay, I can change the format. Remember I told you about PNG. So right now we don't have the transparent background, so we can stick with JPEG. If I click this button called Options, here I can set the quality of my image. it is automatically set to 100, the highest quality. But if you'd like to save some memory, you can go to low quality if you don't need high quality. In this case, I would keep just the highest quality. Okay, and save. All right. And I think the last tool, the last thing I'm going to show you today is going to be the last but not the least. It's very interesting too, is object removal. So we've just removed the background, but we also can remove the foreground objects, basically all the objects, all the unwanted objects, like some casual pedestrians, some things that accidentally got into your shot, your pictures, and you don't want them to be there. Okay, so to do this, I need to click Object Removal. Again, we have this little helper in case you've forgotten how to do that. Let's close it right now. And I need another picture. Let's go to this one. Okay, the sea view. Okay, so we have the sea, the sky, some lady, and two boats. I'd like to keep the lady, but I don't really like those boats. Not a problem. Let me show you how to get rid of those boats. So the first tool here is the brush tool. Okay, I can choose the brush tool, and again, I can set up the brush size. In this case, it's, I think, too big. Let's shift it to smaller size, like 16. No, smaller. 14. Okay. Okay. Right now, I am marking the area, the object I don't want to appear. Again, if I am not really careful, I can use the eraser. This is the tool number 1, 2, 3, 4, eraser. And I can erase the selection which I've made accidentally. Okay. And what happens if I click Start Erasing? Let's see. Boom. No boat. So we just have boat here. Now we don't have boat. And it's nice and smooth. Just the ocean, just the water, like nothing has ever been here. Okay. Let's do the same with the second boat, but let me show you a different instrument. So again, we can just select it using the brush the same way, click Start Erasing, no boat. But let me show you some other tool here. We can use the stamp tool. Okay, the last stamp tool. How does it work? Well, it basically clones the area to another, well, spot which you set manually. So first I have to choose the area which I'd like to set as the new background. So I'm going to set just the closest area, like neighborhood, not really far. And I have to select the area and left click. Okay, so the red spot here is the area from which I would be grabbing the new, well, image part. The green is the area which is going to be replaced. Okay, and I can just click it right here and see that the half of the boat has disappeared. Okay, to finish the job. Remember that I have to, in this case, I have to click the left mouse button, and I have to hold it and like draw the area all over. Okay. But again, in this case, that is not really necessarily. Let me show you another example where the stamp is more useful. Okay, we're gonna save it. Overwrite. Yeah, this one. This is a beautiful picture of the sea again, but it is shot from the hill. Beautiful colors. I love this picture. But we have a bunch of fishermen here. Well, great, fishermen, but I think I'd like to have my picture with no people on it, with no random people which I don't even know. Okay, I can use the stamp tool here. For example, this man. I'd like to select the area which I'd like to put instead of the man. In this case, it's the sea. Again, I'm pressing Alt button on my keyboard, click in the area, and then I have to cover it all over. Okay, again, you can select the area several times. Again, you can be very precise, and if you have patience, if you'd like to be precise, you can do a really good job erasing unwanted objects. Like right here, it's very smooth, but kind of spooky because we just have legs in the shadow. Okay, well, the rest of the job we can do using the brush tool, which is the most convenient and the quicker way probably. So I'm selecting the shadow on the legs, clicking erasing, and okay. As you can see right here, I have some imperfections. Like I think I cut a part of the stone. Okay, I don't have to uh, click undo and do it again and again and again to achieve the perfection. This is actually very important. If you use any of these tools the first time and you don't like the result right away, my personal advice is do not click undo and do not try to repeat. Instead, try to do it again. What I mean is try to use the tool several times. Like in this case, I would use the stamp, which is actually the same as brush, but it is more like manual. And let me select the C. Oh no, sorry, mistake. Okay, let me select the stone area and copy it here. Okay, now we have it much better. Smooth stone. Okay, what are we going to do to the last of fishermen? Well, now you know at least two tools to select and replace the objects that you don't want to be on your picture. Let me show you some other tool, the lasso tool. So there are two types of lasso. The first one, it works the same, but it's just different method of selection. In this way, you don't brush it all over. You just outline the area of the objects or the object which you don't like to be. Okay. Start erasing. Nice. Let's do the same with this fisherman here. Again, as you can see, I am not a careful person because I'm kind of lazy and I don't have to be. I don't have to be very precise. So here, my selection area, the selection border is very close to the head, and in this case, it's not close. I even touching the stone and the sea. That's not a problem. Start erasing. As you can see, the result is still very nice. Okay, but looks like we still have these fishing rods here. Okay, let's use just the brush here, here, and here. Start erasing. No fishing rods. Okay, and we still have two fishermen here. Let's experiment with different tool with lasso, but another type of lasso. This type of lasso selects the area, but it uses the straight lines. Okay. Oh, I haven't told you about the variation. Variation is the parameter you'd like to experiment with, because there are different pictures with different parameters. Sometimes you have a very colorful image, sometimes it's not, and just try different values. If I set the bigger value, it would be like this. If I try to use the smaller value, in this case, it would be the same. So if you're not satisfied with the result right away, try different variation, and you probably achieve the result you like. Okay, and the last person here. Okay, now we have smooth picture with no people on it, just some blue bucket here. I think I have a message. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to show you. Save. Oh no, the last thing, let me show you really quick. We have the magic wand tool here. It's number 2, magic wand. And it works when you have, it works perfectly when you have an object which with the solid color, like in this example, we have just a shadow of a person who took the picture. And we don't need that on the picture. So what I'm going to do is select the magic wand tool and then click just once to the center of the area I'd like to remove. This way. Okay, start erasing, and it's done. So this tool enables to remove the objects in maybe like 2 clicks. Just 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 clicks. Okay, and here we have this very important parameter as tolerance. I have tolerance of 35, and the selection was perfect. But sometimes you need bigger tolerance. Like in this case, if I increase the tolerance value, it would be the way too much. I don't want to remove the whole desert. Okay, if the tolerance value is too little, like 5, in this case, it would be again not perfect. Not all area. The whole area is selected. So in this case, remember it was it was 35 something. Yeah, it was 35, and that was perfect for me. Again, no shadow, just the pure sand. All right. So looks like that's all I wanted to show you today. So let me remind you that, okay, save, override. So today we've adjusted the quality of the image. We have this image, and in the end we have this image. We increased the quality. We changed the background. We added some titles, and we removed some unwanted objects from images like power lines. Well, it wasn't power lines. It was just people or shadows or some, well, both some random objects you don't really need. Okay, let me switch to the camera. Oh, the camera. Okay, you can see me, right? Okay. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. You can use applications like chat, or you can use question and answer application. Or if you're, again, watching this offline on YouTube, for example, you can type your question in the comment section below, right here, and your question would be definitely answered. Or you can write your question, your inquiry, or maybe something nice, just write something nice, on our Google Plus page. Right now, I don't see any questions. Okay, great. So there might be some questions a little bit later, and while I'm waiting for questions, let me also... Oh, I have a question. Please tell something about the trial version. Yeah, the trial version. So if you go to www.movavi.com... Oh, let me switch to the screen, actually. Okay, I'm switching to the screen. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. If you type www.movavi.com, And here you can find the Windows version of the Movavi Photo Editor. Okay. Or you can find the Mac version. And you can try everything. Yeah. And you can try everything we've done today by your own using the trial version. So all the trial versions, either for Mac or for Windows, are equipped with the same tools. You can do the same things. The only limitation is you cannot save your images, but it's perfect to try to see what the program can do and if it works for your photos, for your images. And if it does, you can purchase the program. And probably the probably the sweetest thing about today's webinar is I'm going to share the discount link with you. So try the program first, try the trial, see if you like it. Try all the things we've done today, and if you do like it, please use the secret link because it gives you a discount. It's a 30% discount. It's a limited offer. It's only for the participants of today's webinar, and you can find the link on our Google Plus page under the webinar page, under the webinar message. Or you can also find in the YouTube, if you're watching it on YouTube, in the description below again. So if have I answered the question? Looks like I did. I think you promised us a discount. Yeah. Great. Yeah, I just said that you will find the discount link on our Google Plus page or in the comment section of our YouTube video. Are there any more questions? Okay. All right. While I'm still waiting for questions, let me also invite you to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find the link again in the description or on our Google Plus page. So why would you do that? Because on our YouTube channel, there are new videos every time. We post new videos about some useful tips, how to work with multimedia, how to use the Movavi products, and how to make perfect, smooth, and nice video editing, photo editing, how to convert files, and even how to clean your computer. Like we have this great product, Mac Cleaner. It will be available very soon, and we will be making the review. Okay, and also you can browse our channel for hot deals, for special deals like this discount. From time to time, sometimes we do this. We're happy to do that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. So, if there are no questions right now, again, if you're watching it offline, or if you have a second thought, you can just type in your question on our Google Plus page or in the comment section of our YouTube videos, any video of this webinar or any other video. Again, finally, try the trial version of the Movavi Photo Editor. Use all the tips which we've shown today, which we've done today, and subscribe our YouTube channel. So see you next time. We'll be having a lot of webinars, and have a good one. Goodbye.